Yeah, welcome back everyone. In this video, we'll be seeing the process of identifying gaps in course outcomes. Oh, I am Mohammad Ziauddin Jahangir, Assistant Professor, Department of EC, CBIT. Right. So, what are the different types of gaps that can be discovered? So, before we see how to identify the gaps, we should know what are the different gaps CO assessment is helpful in identifying. So the gaps can be of three types. One, assessment gap, curriculum gap, or gap in teaching learning process. What is assessment gap? Assessment gap means the available evaluation instruments are not well defined to assess a particular CO. What are evaluation instruments we have seen in previous lecture? All the slip tests, assignment, Viva, etc. So whatever is used for assessing the COs, the examinations, they are actually are called as evaluation instruments. So if your evaluation instrument is not proper, then you will have having assessment gap. What will it lead to? It will lead to wrong or misleading CO attainment values. How, for an example, if someone has made a project, and in order to assess that particular project, you are conducting a slip test, that is a completely wrong thing. A slip test cannot be used to assess a project, a physical project. Okay. So you need different criteria, different rubrics for assessing that project. You can ask why was can be one of the tool for assessing that particular project along with the demonstration. Right. Next gap which you have is curriculum gap. Curriculum gap means the existing curriculum is incapable of addressing whatever the COs are mentioned. We know that for every course, the COs are written, and there is going to be a syllabus to address that particular COs. So if the curriculum is not well defined, then such that the whatever questions you give from the syllabus, they are not going to address a particular CO, given CO. Then you say it to be a curriculum gap. These kind of things usually occur where for courses where CO statements are written and then the curriculum is developed. Okay. Usually, most of the time, people write syllabus and then write their COs. But usually, sometimes, in most of the times in OBE, you are supposed to first write the outcomes and then develop the curriculum. And that is the most preferred way, also, in my opinion. So, in that case, you can have curriculum gap, that the COs or the curriculum is not capable of addressing the COs. The third gap is the gap in the teaching learning process. When does this occur? Let us say you have developed the curriculum without any curriculum gap. The CO statements are completely addressed by the syllabus, and you're using the proper assessment tool. And even then, you are unable to attain the course outcomes. Then definitely there is the problem with teaching learning. Okay, so the teaching learning method which you are following in the classroom is not effective enough. So you need to make modification to that teaching learning process. So present teaching learning process failed to impart appropriate outcomes. So therefore, appropriate modification has to be incorporated. So let us see how we can find the gap or when a gap can be found. Gap can be found at two different instances. Once after assessing the CO of a course, and second is while you are framing the course articulation matrix or while you're framing the syllabus. Usually, while framing the syllabus or course, you can only identify curriculum gaps, but where you cannot identify assessment or the teaching learning gaps. Whereas in CO assessment, all three different type of gaps can be addressed. Let us see that with an example. For addressing that, we'll be using the our department's website and whatever the CO attainment submitted here to identify where the gaps were there. So in this website, there is a section called as reports where I have reports for the previous batches. So I'll be taking one of the 1620 batch. And here are all the attainments, whether they are attained or not, and their attainment values. If I take one of the course here, like digital communications, you can see in this digital communications, CO4 is not attained. And I would like to know why it did not attend, what was the gap there. Okay. So for that, let me just download this digital communication sheet. So for that, I will go to my search sheet section of this website. So there it opens up, and here I can select for the course of digital communication. So it is now open. As you can see the final attainment values of this course, you can see that the CO4 is below 1. Here the target level was set to 1 for all the courses as per the rules which we followed for 2020 pass out students. So here CO5 value was less than 1, so it was not attained. So if I try to find out why it was not attained, I can just go inside or drill down into this and find out the reasons for that. You can see for internal attainment, the for this particular CO4 was 1.33 in this course, and the external attainment was 0. Okay, so that led to a lesser value of CO4 attainment. So I would like to know what is the reason it got 0. So for that, I can go into the semester and sheet. Okay, and in this sheet there is this table here, the analysis table, and that is what I need. Just zoom in. So if you see in this analysis table, CO4, okay, why it didn't achieve? Actually, 204 members have written the exam, and out of that, 207 member attempted this question. If there was an assessment gap, okay, let us say if there was some options given in the question paper, then this many people would have not attempted this particular question. If these many people are attempting this question or CO4, it means there is no problem with the assessment. So there is no assessment gap in this for this CO4. Assessment gap can be ruled out. Now the two gaps that are remaining is either teaching learning gap or the gap in the curriculum. So you can see here out of 207 people who have attempted this CO4, only 82 people can cross this threshold marks, that is 11.25 marks. Okay, that means around 40% of the students crossed this threshold marks and remaining people did not cross. What was the reason for that? Was the syllabus not properly framed for the CO? Is this CO not written properly? Or is there a problem with the teaching learning? For that, in order to identify that, we have to compare its CO statements, CO4 statement with the syllabus and try to rule out the curriculum gap. So for that, I'll be opening the sheet, the CO statements. Yeah. So in order to identify this curriculum gap, whether it exists or not, I have opened the syllabus of this course. As you can see, the CO5 is to evaluate the performance of digital modulation schemes with probability of error. Okay. So let me see whether digital modulation and probability of error are asked in the syllabus or not. You can see digital carrier modulation is present in the syllabus. You can see all the modulation scheme, binary, ASK, PSK, signaling scheme, and their error probabilities are also given. So that means these are present in the syllabus. Questions can be asked on this. So ultimately, as it is not an assessment gap, not a curriculum gap, definitely the problem with the course can be a problem in the teaching learning process. So the gap in teaching learning. So the gap in this case can be because of teaching learning. Okay, so why in the SC4, even though there is no problem with the assessment, there is no problem with the curriculum, then there should be some problem with the teaching learning. Yeah, there can be one more thing here. Okay, you can also still drill down to find out whether there was actually a assessment gap. One more thing you can use to rule out the assessment gap is to find out whether all the questions, because in the question paper, many questions may be mapping to that particular CO. Okay, so if I can just expand this a bit and try to see. Yeah, you can see there were many questions that were asked here, actually given in choices. You can see. So CO1 CO4 we are doing. CO4 short answer questions were there, which if we can scroll down, we can see that almost all of them have attempted. They have got some values there. Okay. When we come to CO4 here on this side, there was two long answer question and one more question here was asked on CO4. So if we can just scroll through, we see that even this was attempted. People have not left that in choice. They have attempted that. They got some marks for that. Okay. So as they have got the marks for them, they have attempted and got the marks. So definitely the problem cannot be with the assessment. And we have already checked the problem with the curriculum. There is no problem with the curriculum. So therefore, there might be some problem with the teaching learning process. So therefore, in the next time when this is implemented, in order to attain this CO4, what has to be taken as more time needs to be spent on this CO4 when handling the sports in the next academic year. That is one of the remedy for this. And the second thing is the students, they can be given what do you say, a workshop can be conducted on this digital modulation scheme and to show them how to calculate this error probabilities and all. Okay, and homework problems can be given on the CO4. That can be one of the remedy for that. Okay, same thing also through internal, we will find out what was the problem. CO4 again, you can see in the assignments 3 and 1, they got 2, and in the mid also the student performance was less. They got 1 in this particular thing. So definitely there is some. It seems that this topic is a quite difficult topic. So therefore, much more time needs to be spent on this topic in order for the students to actually grasp it and attain this particular CO. So that can be one of the remedies. So the next time it is asked, more time needs to be spent on CO4 and some what you say special classes or workshop can be conducted and a dedicated slip test or assignment can be conducted on this CO4. That is one of the remedy for this course.